Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Today we will start chapter number 4 of class 8 history, and that one is the tribal Dikus and the vision of golden age. So before we start, let's discuss the meaning of Dikus. So Dikus means outsiders. Dikus were the individuals who made the tribal individual dependent on them, creating lots of poverty and pain for them. Basically, Dikus include moneylenders, Britishers, landlords, and missionaries. Now, let's see the introduction of the lesson. The tribes had customs and rituals that were very different from those laid down by Brahmins. They also did not have any social distinction. All those who belonged to the same tribe thought of themselves as sharing common ties of kinship, but they did have social and economic differences within tribes. In mid-1870s, Birsa was born in a family of Mundas. Mundas, a tribal group that lived in Chhotanagpur plateau region in Bihar. He is known to oppose British interference in the name of the administration in the forest areas and revolt in 1895 till his death in 1900. So this is the overview of the lesson. Now let's start with the first topic of this chapter, and that one is how did tribal groups live? And before that, let's see the life of tribal groups in pre-British India. So in 19th century, there were many tribal people living in different parts of India like Gonds, Ahoms and Santhals and many more. The tribes had their own customs and rituals. They did not believe in the caste system led by the Hinduism and its rules preached by the Brahmins. Tribal society did not have social divisions of upper caste or the lower caste. Those belonging to the same tribes shared common ties of kinship. And the tribals were involved in a variety of activities like subsistence farming, herding, and collection of forest products. The tribal chief, they enjoyed economic power and had the right to administer and control their territory. In some places, they had their own police and decided on the local rules of land and forest management. And apart from herding and hunting or gathering food, the tribal people were also involved in Jhum cultivation, or you may say Jhum cultivation. The fruits of economic development did not reach the tribal population. However, with time, tribal people showed some sign of development as civilized societies. They began to grow food and use the plow. Gradually, started talking of right over the land and accepted differentiation in society based on functions. Now, the first topic of this chapter is how did tribal groups live? The tribal people of India were involved in variety of activities by the 19th century, and we will discuss one by one each and every activity. So first, let's discuss about some were Jhum cultivators. So the first one is shifting cultivation was done. Second, they cut the trees and burnt vegetation to clear. And third, after harvesting, they moved to the other land and left the field fallow. Now, Jhum cultivators were found in the hilly and forested tract of northeast and the central India. In this type of cultivation, a small patch of land were cleared of trees, and the cultivators then burnt the vegetation and spread ash, which contained potassium, to fertilize the soil. Then they used equipments like axe and hoe to prepare the soil for cultivation, and then seeds were scattered on the field. Jhum cultivation is also called shifting cultivation, as once the crop was ready and harvested, cultivators moved to another field. So this is the first subtopic of how did tribals group live. Now, the second subtopic is some were hunters and gatherers. So, Tribals, they hunted animals and gathered forest produce. Then they sold forest produce in social market and often needed to sell and buy other, which led to their dependence on moneylenders like Ghons and beggars. So they regarded hunter and gatherers, they regarded the forest essential for survival. They hunted animals and gathered forest produce for their living. Then they ate fruit and roots collected from the forest, used many forest shrubs and herbs for medicinal purpose, and sold forest produce such as wood and honey in this local market. At times they also exchanged goods, getting what they needed in return for their valuable forest produce, like corns of Odisha. Now, this third subtopic is some herded animals. So, many tribes lived by the rearing animals. They moved with herds according to seasons, like Vangujars, Labadis, Gidis, Bakravals. These were the examples of herded animals. The pastoralists were the tribal groups who lived by herding and rearing animals. They moved around seasonally with their herds of cattle or sheep. The Vangujars, they belongs from Punjab hills. Then the Labadis, they are from Andhra Pradesh. They both were cattle herders. Then the Gadis of Kullu, they were the shepherd, and the Bakrawals of Kashmir, and they reared goats. Now the last subtopic of how did tribals group live is some took settled cultivation. So settles at one place and cultivated, and British officials found them more civilized like Gonds and Santhals. They preferred to stay at one place and live a settled life. They used the plough to farm the lands, and gradually many of them got rights over the land they lived on. Some examples of the Khans of Odisha and Santhals of Bihar. And usually in the month of April, the forests were cleared off the trees for planting crops. Then sowing took place. Then the crop were checked if it was ready, and at the end of the crop cycle, harvesting and winnowing both took place. So this is all about today's topic. How did tribals group live? I'll be joining you in next video lecture. Till then, this side Kesha Kushwaha signing off. Take care. Bye bye.